In a recent article, Kent Hughes reveals more details about his plans for the Habs roster and trade plans moving forward, and it implies some very interesting things. We'll be diving into everything that he had to say, plus a Habs prospect that has been flying under everyone's radar this year. Sam Harris is off to the hottest goal-scoring start across the entire NCAA. You gotta dive into all that, plus Patrik Laine is back skating, and the video definitely has some encouraging signs in it. Stick around for all that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. And we're going to start, Jesse, with our boy Patrik Laine. This is the wrong chapter because I forgot to make chapters. We're just going to play the video. And it's Patrik Laine. They did bite. I'm biting on Patrik Laine. Look at this. The big thing here to me is when I see him put all that weight on his left leg as he's making these turns. You can see that they designed that pretty specifically for that. Jesse, to me, this is such an encouraging sign because Patrik Laine, here at Habs Digest, we've been thinking we'll take the conservative estimate of that injury timeline and we'll say the end of December, give him Christmas off. We're talking early January. But when you see him skating like this, you see him putting the weight on the left leg like he is. Again, it's not full speed. It's still pretty slow. But this, to me, has me really excited. And I'm seeing people say maybe he's just a few weeks out. Would it shock you to see him back before Christmas? At this point, I don't think it would be that surprising. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but these videos of him coming out skating are really encouraging.
Yeah, Patrik Laine is definitely ahead of schedule with his recovery, which is absolutely amazing for this team because they need him, and he knows that as well. Well, we kind of talked about maybe optimistically it would be amazing to have him back before Christmas, to see this kind of come into fruition and maybe even beforehand, is absolutely unreal. So amazing to see him in the bleu, blanc, and rouge, even if it is just kind of that warm-up gear there. But you have to feel Josh, it's still a miracle that he wasn't injured more than he was. And what I'm really taking away from this video, Josh, isn't he looking silky smooth out there? It doesn't seem like he's having problems kind of making these movements. So that's kind of one of the nicest signs for me, kind of coming out of this.
Yeah, and I know there's only so much you can glean from a short little video of him doing slow motion drills, but we take any good sign we can get, right? And he does look smooth. He looks great. He looks awesome. And I'm so excited because this Habs team finally have a nice breakout game scoring 7 goals against the Sabres. And now you get this little tidbit as well. Laine might be coming back soon. Are things finally starting to click? There's a lot more left to be seen before we can make that full assertion. But we're excited about Laine. And you can't blame us for getting excited, even if it's just a short video. I want to hear your guys' excitement down below too. But we're going to quickly move into the second topic, Jesse. And this is something I've been so excited to talk about. Now, we've mentioned Sam Harris a little bit before, but he's a bit of an underrated prospect at this point. He was drafted when he was, I think, 19 or 20 years old. I think he was a 4th or 5th round draft pick. I can't quite remember, but Sam Harris last year did not have a great NCAA season for a forward. It was okay, he's 20, 21, and he's putting up, I think, under 20 points. But this season, Jesse, he just won the NCHC Forward of the Week playing for Denver University. And he currently leads the entire NCAA in goals. He's the only player with at least 6 goals that is a goal per game this season. He has 9 goals in 9 games, 13 points, which is also top 5 in the NCAA. He's a +7. He has 4 power play goals. This is something that I did not expect to see at all, Jesse. Now, I know, he's still probably lower on the Habs prospect power rankings, but at seasons like this, you never know who's going to break out and when. This guy's a 6'1" forward. He's got some really solid goal scoring ability. He's strong. He's still only 21 years old, might come out of college this year. And at the very least, I can see if he keeps this up, he's got a spot pretty much secured in Laval for the future. And who knows, maybe even Montreal. Maybe again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I honestly have been completely caught off guard by his season so far.
This is an amazing start for a season, an amazing time for him to peak, right? Because he's a 5th round pick, and a lot of people have felt the same way, Josh. Oh yeah, he's going to drop off and everything. But putting up, 14 points, 9 of them being goals through 9 games in the NCAA. We got to remember in college, that's a considerable part of your season right there. So this is a very good sample size. And what's even more encouraging is a lot of the ways that he's getting the goals. Maybe the skating could improve a little bit, but this is somebody who has a very nice shot, who is accurate with his release, but he's also getting in front of the net. We see that as kind of a common theme from the points, from the goals that he's getting. So we know that that translates very well to the AHL and, yes, potentially the NHL as well. So again, Josh, hope is there. We have so many amazing things to be thankful for. Sam Harris, out of all people, leading the NCAA in goal scoring. We got the best goalie in the NCAA in Jacob Fowler. We got Cole Caufield leading the NHL in goals. We got the best player in the KHL there. You're going to need to stop me
Absolutely.
here, but all of these are facts. This is all happening with this team right now. So we know that the future is bright.
Yeah, it's awesome. And again, who knows if this translates to the NHL later on down the line. Like, I mean, we're, a lot of Habs fans really love to see one big performance and maybe overhype the guys. But look at that, Oliver Kapanen had a good playoffs and all of a sudden a really good world championship, which is, again, a smaller game sample size. And he turned into an NHLer. Now he's back over in Sweden and we'll be keeping tabs on him. But that's the thing, like, still really exciting. To have 9 goals in 9 college games is no easy feat. You can't just waltz into college and do that. So shout out to Sam Harris, really underrated prospect and really, really fun to keep track of. But Jesse, I want to get into the final part of the video today, and it has to do with our boy, Kent Hughes. Kent Hughes, in a recent article that I will link down below, he was given an interview, and he had some interesting answers to some questions. He was saying, too, you love to get a win like this after a loss. You can bounce back, and a lot of generic stuff, but he made some comments that I think we can take a little bit more information from. So I'm going to start with this one. He said, of course, when you lose, you want to give your team everything to improve their chances, but we have to be patient and stick to our plan. We won't do things in the short term that will undermine our long-term goals. Now, this has been a sentiment he has said before plenty of times, knowing that, we're not just going to make a quick move that'll sacrifice maybe a future pick or something. But it's not just this. He also said this. He said, with a young team, you're sometimes going to see more mistakes. You might want to make a change to bring in someone with more experience who makes fewer mistakes. But that's going to take away the time for that young player to gain experience so that one day he won't be making those mistakes. Now, Jesse, we're on the heels of the Habs passing on Dante Fabro as he eventually got claimed by the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're on the heels of lots of trade rumors of Montreal being in the market for a big right-handed defenseman, maybe even a nice two-way forward. But to hear Kent Hughes say these things again, and especially that second part, saying like, we're going to give these young guys a nice long leash to learn from their mistakes. That, to me, I think sheds a lot more light on why the Habs maybe didn't go for a guy like Fabro, who's only on a 1-year deal. He's gone at the end of the year, where, he would have blocked out maybe some younger guys from getting those chances. So I think it's something we kind of already knew, but to hear him say it again really reassures us in what his plan likely is moving forward.
And I really needed to hear these words from Kent Hughes. I think a lot of our viewers kind of did too. I really loved his quote where he's saying that you learn so much from your players in the good times, but also the bad times. Mm-hmm. You see what your players are really made out of and also what this team needs. So it's like, what this team needs isn't lost on Kent Hughes. Like, he knows it, right? But he just wants to have a solid plan kind of going forward, which I think is honestly so key. Like, for me, just to kind of have that idea that he has that bigger vision, like, I definitely have faith in Kent Hughes and this rebuild. Like, would a Jonathan Marchessault maybe have been nice, kind of going back to the summer, earlier to that same kind of conversation? Like, maybe. I'm not going to lie. Like, I've been thinking about it a little bit. Like,
he hasn't been great so far, though.
Over the term. That's true. And that's why we need to really trust with Kent Hughes in this, because he has that plan, right? Even though March still showed up pretty consistently that he can be a good goal scorer, even still, it's like we need to trust that overall plan from him. So to seeing that, like, he's studying and he's seeing like which players are kind of learning, which ones aren't. I think there is definitely like a certain kind of line in the sand you want to draw at a certain point where like certain players are making a lot of mistakes. But the thing is like, Kent Hughes has been a player agent for a long time. He knows hockey players. He knows that there's ups and downs. Sometimes you're playing really well and your game goes off a cliff. Sometimes you're not playing well, but you haven't shown what your potential is. You get into the right environment, you take off. So he doesn't want to make these hasty decisions. You know who we're talking about, folks. Justin Barron, et cetera, these type of bubble type players. He wants to give them those opportunities and a chance to really kind of learn from that going forward. So just to see he really knows what this team needs, for me is just extremely reassuring.
And the thing is too, like, we've been saying this team is still young. They still have a ton of time to figure things out. They're very early relative to pretty much any other team that ever wants to be near a playoff push in terms of their rebuild. Yes, they did go in and get Laine, but in terms of prospects, and Laine hasn't played yet, right? And in terms of prospects, like, you're always going to have some kind of struggles, especially when you're trying to teach a new defensive system, this hybrid system that some people love, some people hate. It is what it is. A lot of cup winners have used it. So Montreal's still learning, right? And to have these young guys learn as they're going, to experience in a game what works, what doesn't work. You're already seeing Montreal improve game by game right now with these young guys this season. The defense has gotten a lot better over the past 4 or 5 games. To see that improvement continue to grow, maybe have these guys turn into, again, that style of player that Kent's maybe says is sort of a band-aid solution, it would be great to see. But I don't know what you guys have to say down below about Kent Hughes' comments. Do you think that's why he didn't go after Fabro? Do you think we're maybe further away from a trade than we first anticipated? We'd love to hear from you, but that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for all the support. We're approaching 16,000, and we really couldn't do it without you. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.